So what we're going to look at in this video tutorial is thinking about how to create a final composition or a final hybrid design. Something similar to what we've got here, just some sketches and some layouts. So I'm just going to show you how I went about that. So you'll need a pencil. Watercolours are quite good for adding some kind of quick layers of colour. You could use pencil crayon if you wanted to. But what's really important is that you've got your reference material. So I've got some research on Hanuman. So this is who I'm going to use. You might have chosen Medusa or Anubis, Ganesha, whoever it might be. So you'll need a bit of research on that person. Certainly some reference material. You'll need the artist. For those of you who are working on the canvases or about to work on canvases, two of the key artists I want you to think about is this one here, Tristan Eaton, and Ian MacArthur. Ian MacArthur is the artist who I showed you with the examples that are on the PowerPoint. So where I kind of changed myself into a bird and I did pattern in the background, that was Ian MacArthur. So today we're going to focus on Tristan Eaton instead. And as you can see, he kind of breaks up his faces and includes often kind of text or some kind of iconic symbol, cartoon characters, and of course animals, which is the key thing we want to incorporate into our own work. So we've got our artist, we've got our kind of contextual link, and of course we need again reference materials. So I've got some animal pictures, I've got different poses that I've taken on myself. And so of course I want to use monkeys because we're looking at Hanuman. So it's really important that you're using the same animal and you're not going off track with that one. So the first thing I'm going to try is just kind of playing around with what features I can combine. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to stick with these two here, okay, because they're quite a similar pose. So I'm just going to sketch those out. So, and these are sketches, so don't worry about kind of seeing sketch lines. All that's okay. If you want to kind of put a cross in the middle just to kind of get an idea where the eyes would be. So these are not meant to be finished, kind of polished drawings. They are sketches, which are quick kind of studies. So I'm just kind of marking in the main kind of features. And do think about kind of proportions, so ears, top of the ear to bottom of the nose, so top of the ear goes with the eyes or the eyebrows, and bottom of the ear goes to the nose. But of course I'm going to distort this now, so although I've got my mouth open here, I want to include this kind of chimpanzee's mouth. So I'm going to start to think how I can kind of bring this down, this mouthpiece. So obviously it's going to look a little bit kind of odd, a little bit weird. And that's okay because it's a hybrid character. So it's meant to be a mixture of kind of a human and an animal. So, and this is why it's important to sketch this out, because as I've sketched this, do I like how long that is, you know, on the face? Do I think that's a good combination? But you're only going to find those things out as you sketch, and it doesn't matter if something's not quite right. So for me personally, I'm not so keen on this, but I'm still going to keep it. I'm not going to get rid of it. So I'm going to try a different face this time. So let's try combining these two. So again, I'm going to start with, I might start with the monkey this time actually. So I'm going to put the chimpanzee in place. There we go, just so you can kind of see that. So let's do a quick sketch of that. So he's kind of looking at the side a little bit. So I'm going to kind of think about where the nose is going to come, and I'm going to add the mouth piece. So the reason why I would use any feature, I could have the top half of the monkey and the bottom half of myself, but because I'm looking at Hanuman, you can see it's the top half of the head which has human features, and it's the bottom half that has the monkey features. So that's why I'm sticking with this one. So I'm going to draw that chin in there, get some of those kind of wrinkles in. So now I'm going to go back to my face this time. So I might change the nose and make that look a little bit more human. I'm going to bring that up a little bit. Just a sketch that we're looking at, not a finished piece. So I'm going to think about how that part of the face would come in. Now I can decide, do I want human ears, or do I go for the more kind of monkey shaped ears? So I'm going to go with the human ears this time. Keep the hair. So again, these are just sketches, they're not finished pieces. But now what I might start to think about is, how could I incorporate more of the Hanuman kind of character in there. So let's just kind of fold this over, just so you can see a bit better. So we've got the kind of the hairs at the bottom here, so I could add those in. I could think about, do I want the sphere? So I don't know what this is exactly, but I could incorporate that next to the face. So if this is my composition, think about where that would be. I could start to play around with that, so I might start to think about, if this was my canvas, could I have it landscape? So I could think about where it would appear on the page. Do I want to zoom in a bit further? So we've got this kind of, these kind of markings on the head. There's a headpiece. So I could add some kind of decoration which might kind of come off the head there, and even maybe a halo of some sort, or some sort of circular kind of shape. I can start to play around with whatever shapes I want inside this composition, and I'm going to tie in some of these kind of features from the Hanuman piece. But I can also look back to my artist research. So in terms of this as a composition, I might start to think about, could I break up? So I could go over the nose down here. So a bit like what Tristan Easton does here, kind of goes over the nose there. Maybe I want to go in a different direction, so I might go over that eye and up here. So now I've got these kind of three kind of segments, you know. So just kind of thinking about these kind of shapes. And I could just do a very kind of quick wash just over the top, just to kind of get an idea kind of where the colour would be. And I could stick to the artist colours. So I'm just going to use just a quick wash all over the top. So keep moving the paint quickly. As I said, watercolours will work best for this, but you could use pencil crayons and just kind of shade that in. And then I quite like the idea of, again, sticking to the colour scheme, so I'm going to use red up here. So just going back, pushing that around quite quickly so we don't end up with lots and lots of blotches. So now we've got this very quick kind of colour study. So once we've done that, it's now worth trying a different kind of technique. So I'm not going to worry about putting in details at the moment. These are just very kind of loose and quick ideas. So if I want to do a traditional portrait, so I could just draw myself another box. Sometimes it's helpful to draw the box first, or sometimes it's useful to start a study and then draw the box afterwards. Find the way that works best for you. So I've drawn a very loose kind of portrait kind of orientation here. So again, I'm looking at the artist's work. So this time I might try something similar to this piece here. So I'm going to go back to my kind of drawings here. I'm going to just draw that in. I quite like the idea of not having the whole face. So let's do maybe part of the face this time. So I'm leaving this kind of space here to kind of fill in. So I'm just thinking about where the eyes would be, and the kind of nose shape. So just a very quick kind of face sketch there. Of course I want to tie it back to our monkey picture here, so I'm going back to my research. So let's bring this down here. And that chin kind of shape. So I'm never just making anything up. I'm always just checking against the kind of the research. I might go for the monkey here this time, so I'm going to place this area, so keep that quite large. And then what I can do, once I've kind of got this idea, I can think about what other kind of things I might want to incorporate. So I might try and split the page first, because this is what the artist does. So you can see as these kind of like slivers, almost as if the page has been kind of torn. I quite like the fact that he uses lettering. So I could think about kind of having some of these letters, maybe spelling out the word Newman. Doesn't matter if it kind of cuts off, that all kind of adds to it, makes the composition a bit more interesting. So I've just got a Hanu there. And I can think about what I might want to the background. So if we look back to the Hanuman research, I quite like, it's kind of wearing these kind of ornamental earrings. So we could include just some kind of rough shape there. He's got pearl shape. We got the hair on the chin. We can have the symbol at the top here. So again, it's just playing around with this. I still quite like that kind of halo shape, so I'd quite like to maybe bring that in. But you can see this is starting to look much more of an interesting composition, because we're not just doing a hybrid face and then just kind of drawing that then into the composition. We're thinking about the space, where things go. Do we want to show the whole face? What other kind of key features can we bring into this that relate to the research that we've done into our particular hybrid? And don't forget, it might not always have like religious kind of connections, but they will tie into mythology. So even with Medusa, you can look at the story behind that and think about kind of bringing in those elements from the story into the the work to make it more interesting. And then again, I could think about what colour scheme do I want to use. So we can kind of very quickly, so I might just start to think about the tonal work on this one. So putting something that's got a grey areas. I quite like the blue. In fact, I might have the blue down here actually. So I might have this kind of area in blue. And it might be quite nice to use actually some of these kind of strong orange colours, because blue and orange contrast. The orange would really show up against the blue, and I could bring some yellow into that as well, just to kind of make that lighter. Again, we don't have to be really neat with this. These are just very quick ideas. And I could balance that out, so I could stick to the orange on here, maybe a bit stronger, so that my colour scheme isn't all over the place. I could kind of bring some of that orange colour maybe into the background here, and it just creates a little bit of balance there in terms of colour. So we're kind of balancing it out on both sides. And so it really is just playing around, just sketches, very loose, not finished, don't need lots of shading on them, but you'll start to get a feel for what your final canvas might look like. This sketch then is finished, and you can make notes on it. So this is my original one without any colour. I just made some notes about decorative items. Do I want something realistic? All of the sketchy marks. So this needs to be finished and brought in after the 2 weeks. One of the other things I'd be asking you to do is, once you've created a design that you like, so I actually think this is probably my favourite design on this sheet so far, I would then do a small acrylic test of this, making sure it matches closely to the artist's style. So in maybe by the end of this week I'll create another video for you showing you how to do that. Okay, enjoy, have fun.